Cut Cam Poopin. Cut him. Deep ball action.
So is he driving at 100 yards?
I got you.
Welcome back to Fantasy Football Island. My fellows are back. Welcome to the show, Johnny Ballgame.
What's up?
Sir Poops a lot.
What's happening?
And we got a new fantasy guest for you, Keith the Fantasy Antagonist. Welcome to the show, Keith. How you doing, my man?
What up?
All right, so Keith is hopefully going to bring us a little bit of spice, little antagonist views, and stir the pot a little bit. And I know he will because he's in our fantasy league. He's got the number one pick. And he's already created a video talking smack. Yeah, exactly. Boo. We're going to hand this guy Christian McCaffrey already. Man. Keith, man, tell me, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. I still can't get over the fact that you guys handed me the number one pick.
You should take Alvin Kamara with it, don't you think?
Nah,
For sure.
It's not happening.
All right, you guys ready to rock and roll and get this thing going?
Let's do it.
Do it.
All right, here we go.
News and notes around the NFL.
Opening segment, as always, news and notes. And let's get started with the first story. Sony Michel was traded to the Los Angeles Rams for 2 conditional late first-round pick, not first round, but late-round picks. This could considerably change the draft stock of Darrell Henderson. I'm going to start with you, Keith, since you're the new guy. I want to get your take. Does Darrell Henderson's draft stock change at all to you? Does Sony Michel's draft stock change? And are you confident Darrell's still the lead back?
Yeah, I think for Darrell Henderson, it definitely changes things for me. This suddenly becomes a RBBC, and I'm really not interested too much in this at all. Sony Michel was completely undraftable for me before, and now he kind of gets us up there. Darrell Henderson, I really liked. I was really on the bandwagon with the whole Rams thing. Kind of bitter about it, but I think Sony Michel is really going to eat into his carries, and we might see a change in the guard mid-season.
Wow, mid-season. Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure. Tony, what's your take on all this? Were you going to draft Darrell Henderson anyways? Or are you still going to draft him?
I mean, not right out of the gate, obviously, but I'm somewhat high on him too. This is a disappointment for a fantasy standpoint, but for the Rams, it was probably a smart move. Something did scare him, the broken finger or whatever was wrong with him. I guess it was a smart move, but yeah, it really deflates that whole bandwagon. You know, I mean, we'll see. Michel has some talent. We've seen some good games. We've seen some obsolete point games.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, my issue is I don't think the Rams are confident in Darrell Henderson. They've proven this in the last 2 years. He came in with all the hype in the preseason last year, and then Cam Akers kind of came in there and messed things up for him. And prior to that, it was Mr. Brown running the ball in the end zone. So then this year you come in, he's getting all the hype, and immediately, as soon as he gets his first injury, boom, you go trade for Sony Michel. It's obvious the Rams don't see him as the lead back. This is going to be a committee all the way. John, what do you think?
I totally agree. I agree with Keith that Sony Michel was undraftable before. I think he's draftable now. I think he's like a late round flyer at worst. I wouldn't mind seeing Sony Michel in that Rams offense. Can you imagine him as a starter in there? He can catch the ball. He can run. He's got some speed. I actually think it gives him new life. I don't touch Darrell Henderson Darrell Henderson now. So,
but doesn't Sony Michel also have the degenerate knee that Gurley had? I don't understand why would the Rams go back to that same situation.
Yeah, I don't know how bad it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah.
They were talking about that last year.
Yeah, so all this does for me is just solidify the fact that you got to get 2 running backs in the first 2 rounds. I I mean, that's what I'm going to do. I'm telling you guys right now, I'm taking 2 running backs because there's just not enough feature hammer backs out there. So, and this is definitely not going to be one of them with the Rams. So let's move on to the next story. This one breaks my heart. Also makes me kind of happy, and I'll explain. But the ATM machine is broke.
Yep.
Travis Etienne was diagnosed with a Lisfranc injury in his foot, and Lisfrancly will miss the entire season. Now it's sad because I was touting him last week, and I like him a lot as an explosive player. So that makes me a little bit sad, but I'm super happy as well because in my dynasty league that was 2 days before this news broke. In the auction, I actually picked up James Robinson just for like sneaky depth, and it got him super cheap. And then the news broke 2 days later, and now I'm like, oh, wow, I got me a hammer running back as my running back 3. So, John, tell me, how do you feel about this news? Does it make you sad? And does James Robinson like skyrocket up your board?
Doesn't make me sad because I wasn't that giant on ATN anyway. I think he would have been used as a 3rd down back. I don't think he was going to be an every down back. It bumps Robinson up, bumps him up. It doesn't skyrocket him up. I think Robinson is a above average back. I don't think he's a fantastic back. I think he trailed off toward the end of the year last year, started out gangbusters. Still probably won some people some fantasy championships because nobody thought anything about him. But I don't think he's – first of all, I don't know if you've watched any of the Jaguars preseason. They're not a good team. Their line sucks. Their poor rookie quarterback is getting his ass kicked back there. They're going to have to run, but they're running behind a crap line. So I'm staying away from any running back. I'm probably staying away from any Jaguar, to be honest with you.
Keith, what's your take on all this?
A little bit opposite, man. I have James Robinson just skyrocketing up my boards. I was really high on him before this news because I really didn't see ETN as a stud wide running back for them. And James Robinson hasn't done anything to lose that job. So I really think he's back up there on my boards. I place him inside the top 20 now, and I can't wait to draft him.
Nice. And of course you thought the opposite because you are the fantasy antagonist. All right.
But you agree with me with their line though, right?
Yeah, their line is garbage.
But their line was garbage last year.
That's true.
It was a little better, I think, though. I don't know. I
We'll see.
anything that made me believe that he's going to be good.
All right.
And they get a better quarterback this year.
Yeah.
That's debatable.
Ish.
Ish. All right. Next story. Cam Newton briefly placed on the COVID list again, but he did actually return to practice today. But while he was away, Mac Jones shined in his absence, according to reporters, and even had Bill Belichick admit to the press that Mac has now gotten a golden opportunity to grab the reins. There's also been mumblings from the past few days from a few local reporters that it's possible that the Patriots might actually cut Cam Newton. I love this story. Johnny, come on, man. Are you ready for this show to be over with Cam Newton? Should they cut him?
Yeah. No, actually, I don't think they should cut him. I think they should keep him. I think they should make him the backup, but I think Mac Jones should start from day one. He runs their offense. It's much more of a Patriots offense when he's back there. I think it ups Damian Williams. I think it ups Jonnu Smith considerably with Mac back there. Cam just Cam. He just doesn't fit that offense. I might keep him for insurance because they're getting him pretty cheap this year, so it's not like they're losing anything really with him. And Stidham is not the backup you want if Mac goes down, so why not keep him? But there was a reporter that said there's no earthly reason for Cam to play as long as Mac is upright. And so I think that's pretty much all you need to know by the local reporters. So,
Tony, I know you and I don't like Cam Newton. What's your take on this?
What worries me is Belichick is kind of stubborn. He is stuck by Cam Newton from day one for his own pride, I think. He's just like, I'm going to make this guy work. I'm going to make this happen. This week, maybe it was the nail in the coffin, man. Maybe he's finally given in and talking about like, hey, this is an excuse in his own brain to be like, all right, we gotta cut him or we gotta bench him or something. I'm still not 100% sure that they're going to do that because, like I said, I think coach is really stubborn, but we'll see. I hope they get rid of him, man. Bench
Yeah,
him.
I'm like counting down the days till the season starts because I know like a couple days before they're gonna cut his ass. That's just what I feel.
Mac was 19 of 21 against the Giants starters yesterday in camp, and they said Belichick gave Mac a low 5, and they said that's like the best praise Belichick will ever give a rookie quarterback. Gave him a low 5.
Keith, what's your feel, Keith? What do you think is going to happen here? Do you think Mac wins this job?
I just would love to see an interview from Tom Brady of what he thinks. I just think that would be just so hilarious to see, what's going through his head while this quarterback controversy is going on in New England. I would love to see Mac Jones because I'm high on Damian Harris. So if Mac Jones gets that job, then Damian Harris looks great. So I've got him in a couple of my keeper leagues. So I'm rooting for Mac big time. Mac and cheese all day.
Can you imagine Tom Brady polishing his Super Bowl ring while he was giving that interview?
Oh, yeah.
His last one. Be like, no, I don't know about that quarterback controversy.
Nice. All right. And last story real quick. Just a few quarterback battles have been won so far. They've announced them in the press. Trevor Lawrence was announced the starter in Jacksonville. No surprise there. Andy Dalton was announced the starter in Chicago. And Teddy Bridgewater was announced the starter in Denver. Tony, any of these surprise you? Do you disagree with these moves at all?
Not really. Maybe Bridgewater a little bit. For some reason, I didn't think I know they brought him over there, but I just thought that he might lose out. So, but yeah, there's nothing significant there. Not in my opinion, anyway.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, Bridgewater's a little bit of a surprise, only because I thought they'd give Locke every opportunity to win that job, and Locke actually has looked pretty good in the preseason. So it's not like he did anything to lose the job. So they must just think and trust Bridgewater more. And my guess is he practiced better than Locke did.
Okay.
I'm pissed off that Dalton is going to be the Bears starting quarterback. I
think that's the big mistake. That's what I was going to say. I think the Bears are making a huge mistake. They got a really good quarterback and they have a really shitty quarterback and they chose the shitty one. And I know they're playing the Rams week 1 and they're talking about after that, they let the kid come in Fields. I just think that's a mistake. Let the kid get his feet wet. Get him going, man. Get him out there. He's the better quarterback. Keith, what do you think?
I'm the same way. I think that coach is just being stubborn because he brought in Andy Dalton and said that he was going to be the starter from day one. Now he's just sticking by his guns, and now he just looks like an idiot because Fields has outplayed him at every single opportunity.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. And I can't wait for Dalton to crap the bed when he gets out there.
Yeah,
Keith, I just need you to understand I'm a Bears fan and an Ohio State fan. So this is the merger of all my worlds. Fields is the quarterback for the Bears. So.
AFC East Divisional Breakdown.
Okay, on to the next segment, fellas. And now we're going to do our AFC East Divisional Breakdown today. And that is the Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and the New York Jets. And we'll do it in the order of Vegas's predicted finish. And so we start with the Buffalo Bills. Sir Poops a lot. You're on the clock, baby. Tell me about them Bills.
Well, there's not much to say, but they're amazing. Now, before we get into
mic drop.
Yeah, you guys already know how I'm gonna finish this, but overall, what were they? 13-3 last year. We saw a lot out of Josh Allen. The guy was money. He put up numbers. What was he? Right behind Aaron Rodgers for the most touchdowns. I mean, it was incredible. He got his big contract. He got his money. This is the year though for him. I personally feel that though he has improved the past 2 seasons, I think there's more pressure on him than a lot of people are willing to acknowledge. So he gets the big contract. He's expected to make a run for MVP this year. He's expected to make it to the Super Bowl. And I think there's a lot of pressure on him, and he's still a little bit young. And so for me, personally, I don't think he's going to put up the numbers that he did last year. And that also is a reflection on what's his name. Though Diggs was that was a trade, man. I mean, Diggs comes in and just tees off and has one of the best years for wide receivers. You don't normally see that, going from one team to another team and putting up those kind of numbers. So I think there's a lot of pressure, and I don't quite buy them going all the way. And I definitely don't, you guys know, I don't put Josh Allen in the top 5 for quarterbacks, fantasy standpoint at all. And that makes the same for Diggs. What I'm interested to see, though, is the running game, because the running game hasn't done much. I liked Singletary. I liked Moss. Still some potential there, and I think that they could surprise people if they fed those guys the ball. But are those guys good enough to do a lot? I don't know. But I think if you up their carries, it might change the dynamic of their offense a little bit. I mean, Moss, when he gets over 10, 12 carries, he averages more per yards. But if they don't give him the ball, he doesn't get that momentum and he doesn't do much. So I'd like to see the run game become a little bit more active and see if that helps them at all. Week 1, they got the Steelers, so that's going to be kind of exciting. First week, though, sometimes teams can be rusty, but I'm looking forward to that game. And 5 weeks later, they got the Chiefs. So by then, everybody's going to be warmed up. That could be a hell of a game, too. And that's gonna probably show the outcome. So by week 5, if they, tee off on the Chiefs, then I was wrong. And we'll see. We'll see week 5. We know their defense is a little bit improved in a sense. What was their defense ranked last, guys? You remember? I don't know. Where were they?
Middle of the pack.
Middle of the pack. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think you can. I don't know. I think their defense might be a little bit more improved, and if it does, it's just gonna. We'll see on that. It's always going to be suspect because every year I find 3 or 4 defenses that are middle of the pack and they end up becoming number 1 or number 25. So I don't know, but I think they're still going to be good. And then you got also the little wide receiver issue. What is his name? I mean, Gabriel
Beasley.
Davis.
Oh, Davis.
And we know what's up with Beasley. I mean, both of them are in that. They have that 5-day COVID thing going on for those 2 guys. But do you need those guys when you got Diggs? I don't know, but spread the ball around. Also, Allen does have some deep ball action. We used to be pretty critical on, can he throw the deep ball and is he precise with it? Can he get it there? And he showed some signs last year that he can actually do that. So that's really my take all in all. I'm not getting into detail because they were 13-3 last year and they got most of the returners. So are they going to do it again? I don't think so, but most people think so. So
John,
that's where I'm leaving it.
Are they going to do it again, John? Tell me.
Nope. By the way, the Bills' defense was actually 10th. They were in our league last year. So
okay,
just look that up. I don't think so. I actually think Hoop was spot on. I don't believe in Allen this year for the same exact reasons. Diggs, if you look at his career, is kind of every other year he goes off. And last year he went off, so I'm not quite so sure I buy into him this year. They don't have a running game. They're a metrics or an analytics run team, which means they think that they can get better and more on the throws, which is good for Allen. It's not good for the running back. So I would stay clear of any Bills running back this year. And Diggs isn't going to have as good a year, and neither is Allen. So.
All right, Keith, I know you're the fantasy antagonist, and you're probably thinking the exact opposite. What do you think?
Well, I actually thought you guys were going to like Bills, but apparently I'm on your guys' side.
Oh, wow.
I actually really dislike this team. I actually don't think that they're going to come close to the 13-3 that they had last year. I think it's going to fall apart, honestly. I think that Josh Allen is outside my top 10 as far as where he ends up at the end of the year. I think Diggs does fall off. Like you said, he does this every other year kind of thing. It's weird, but it's what he does. I think there's too many mouths to feed, and I think the whole Beasley thing and the whole Davis thing, I think there's going to be a disconnect on this team, and I think that's going to hurt them in the long run.
Wow. So I'm on an island, so I might as well just say it. You guys are freaking crazy. Josh Allen is – I still think Josh Allen is very capable of finishing first in fantasy football. If it's not him or Kyler Murray, it's Mahomes. It's one of those three guys, and I don't think that changes. I think I think you guys are crazy, and I think Diggs is a top 5 receiver. But, hey, that's why we have a show, right? We gotta talk this out. We don't all agree.
That's true.
All right, moving on. We're going to the Miami Dolphins, and the Dolphins have been tasked to Mr. Johnny Ballgame. Give it to me, bro.
Dolphins. I like the Dolphins more this year. I think the Dolphins are the dark horse to win this division. I'm just going to say it right now. Tua is a really athletic kid. He can run with it. He's 2 years removed now from his almost 2 years removed from his major surgery. He has an entire offseason this year. He's not platooning with Fitzpatrick. We're going to trust him. I actually watched him in the preseason game the last week. He actually looks really good, smooth, getting the ball out. I think he's going to be in someone's lineup by the year's end as their starter, and I think he's got a shot to help that fantasy team, whoever gets him. Myles Gaskin, I've been on record on the show as saying I love Myles Gaskin, and I do. I don't like this committee that they've got going right now, but I do think Myles Gaskin is good. And everything I read, the Dolphins view him as a legitimate starter. And he's a complete back. He can play on all 3 downs. He can catch the ball. He's having this really weird preseason, though, so I don't know where the hell to rank that guy. If there was no Malcolm Brown, I would say he's a clear-cut starter, and I'd have him in my top 15 probably, with a dark horse to be in the top 10 by the end of the year. But Malcolm Brown's there now, and Malcolm Brown started the first preseason game, and he played a lot in the second preseason game. So he's got talent. He's some talent. He's not a world beater, but he had some really good games for the Rams last year. He's going to vulture the goal line carries too, which makes me mad. So it's hard to draft Gaskin. They've got Ahmed, who's likely going to be their 3rd down guy. He could start if he has to, but not draftable in any league ever. On the wide receiver side, I think this group's pretty solid. It's a lot of mouths to feed, though. They've got Devontae Parker, who is the one kind of receiver holdover you would want. Always produces when he's healthy, but like Keith said earlier, when he's healthy, that's the one issue with that guy. He can't stay healthy, can't stay on the field. But man, when he is, catches everything, he's fast, he's got great hands. Sneaky play this year, I think. If he can put it all together and stay healthy, I think he's a sneaky play for somebody. They brought over Will Fuller, and the 4 games a year where Will Fuller is awesome will be awesome for somebody. But it's so hit and miss. Half the time you're already pissed off at him, so you just leave him on your bench, and then he goes off while he's on your bench. I'm not big on Will Fuller. I think he's got a ton of talent, but he's even more injury prone than Parker. This is like the all injury team for wide receivers. But man, those 4 games are going to make somebody super happy if they have him in their lineup. Jalen Waddle, I think, is interesting. He's a rookie. He's got a lot of speed. He's got the pedigree. Played for the big university. He's got a connection with Tua. I like him a lot in this offense. They're going to get him the ball out quick. They're going to let him do, run afterwards. He's a little fella. He's probably going to get hurt, so he adds to the all-hurt team. The rest of the team, they've got like Albert Wilson, Jakeem Grant, Preston Williams. Those guys have actually been on people's fantasy rosters over the last couple of years because they thought, oh, look at this sneaky breakout player. And then, of course, they are let down by them every single time because they have one good game a year. So I'd stay away from all those guys. On the tight end side, 2 words, Mike Gesicki. And Keith was right earlier. We liked Jonnu a little bit better than Gesicki, but Gesicki's a stud. He gets a ton of red zone targets. And he has some games where he balls out. My issue with Gesicki is he's inconsistent. There's some games where he's going to score you 25 points, and there's other games he's going to score you 6 points. So if he doesn't get those touchdowns, he's a little inconsistent for me. Fast guy, can get down the seam, he can get the ball. He's great when he finally gets the ball in his hands. And I think Tua will go to him some, but I just think there's a lot of people to pass to. Defense is top 10 defense. It was actually 8th in our league last year, so I like them. We've got the 6th easiest strength of schedule this year, which might not mean anything because obviously it's hard to translate from year over year, but it's not a bad way to start. They added edge rusher. They added linebackers. They've got 2 of the best deep backs in the league. It's a legit every week starter on defense, I think. And then I didn't even bother to talk about the kicker because I don't care.
Excellent breakdown, Johnny. That was really good. Anybody have anything to add to what John has already said?
Not really. That's pretty clear cut. I liked it.
Good job, John. That was a great breakdown. All right, so we're moving on, and we're going to the New England Patriots. And guess who got the New England Patriots? The guy that loves Cam Newton. Yeah. I said it on the show a few weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. I think Mac Jones is the best quarterback in the draft this year. He's not the most exciting. He's not the most athletic, but he's definitely the most accurate of all the drafted rookie quarterbacks. He makes the quickest reads. And in this system, under Bill Belichick, I think it works. I think he fits perfectly. The problem is, and always has been, Sham Newton. Clam Newton, Cam Chowder, whatever you want to freaking call him. As long as the Patriots keep him around, he's doing the team a disservice. They need Mac Jones to start now. He's the better quarterback. He fits better. He makes the players around him better. And the longer you go with this Cam Newton experiment, the less you're going to win. And I think the Patriots are in a win now mode this year. I think they're going to be pretty good. They need to start. They need to start Mac Jones. I'm just adamant about that. It's better to put him in right away in week one and just move on from Cam Newton. That's why I'm starting a new movement. Cut Cam pooping. Cut him. Get him out of here. All right. The entire offense for fantasy purposes obviously becomes better if Mac Jones is the quarterback. Imagine a world where the Patriots get down to the goal line and Cam Newton doesn't run the ball in. Think some of those tight ends might go to running back Damian Harris? Check. Imagine a world where Cam Newton is not throwing errant passes over the middle of the field, and instead Mac Jones is peppering his tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, over the middle of the field. You think they might catch a little more balls and touchdowns? Check. Imagine a world, finally, where we don't have to watch Cam Newton's lame-ass fashion show and his ridiculously stupid freaking hats.
They're awesome.
I'm sick of Cam. I'm sick of his hats. I'm sick of his fancy clothes, his tantrums. The Cam show is no mo. I predict he's going to get cut before the season starts, and fantasy owners will rejoice around the world. Now, moving on. No more Cam, all right? Since the trade of Sony Michel, I'm now a big fan of Damian Harris, just like Keith. Well, I think he'll be in a committee a little bit with Ramondre Stevenson, the rookie. I think it'll be a committee in which he'll dominate the touches a little bit more, maybe like 70-30. Damian should also catch a few balls with Mac Jones. So, yeah, I like him as a solid RB3. At wide receiver, there's nothing really to see here beyond the Jacoby and Myers law office. I think Jacoby Myers is way undervalued this year and definitely returns value at his current ADP of wide receiver 60. What? That's way too low, way too low. Did you guys know that once he started becoming a regular wide receiver in the offense, he was in week 7 on, he was averaging over 7 targets a game with Cam shit-tone. Cam Newton was throwing him the ball and he got 7 targets a game. Again, if Max starts, then he becomes a great slot receiver who could catch 80 to 90 balls, and that sprinkle in a couple touchdowns, you got a solid wide receiver 3. Nelson Aguilar is their deep threat, and they added Kendrick Bourne for depth. But the receiving core as a whole is suspect, and most of them are not draftable. I would only take a flyer on like Jacoby Meyer. That's it. The calling card for the Patriots this year will be their defense. They brought in Matt Judon and returned Dante Hightower after his 1-year absence when he opted out. So their run defense is going to be a lot better. They have elite corners. They have good safeties, and they should return to top 5 form this year. Bottom line for me is if they go Mac Jones, this is a playoff team and a contender. If they continue the shit show, they're an 8-7 team with Cam Newton. And while fantasy Rolls Royce might like those players on fantasy teams that are 8-7, there will be nothing to see on the Patriots if they go Cam Newton. That's it. What do you guys think?
And pretty much
How
everything.
about Nicole Harry? What was his Nicole Harry?
Nicole Harry?
Nicole Harry?
Yeah.
What happened? Where is he at?
He's just like buried in their depth chart. I think he's an afterthought at this point.
He wanted out.
Such high hopes for that guy.
I know. I do worry about Ramondre Stevenson because I don't know if you saw that guy around the goal line. He gets in every single time in the last 2 preseason games. He's got like 5 touchdowns or some stupid number like that. It's always around the goal line. So I worry a little bit about him vulturing those goal line carries from Damian Williams. That's my only concern about him.
Yeah, Damian Harris.
Or Harris, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I do worry about that a little bit. But again, DeMontre Stevenson was playing against the second and third team, players. So Bill Belichick's not an idiot. We'll see. I think they'll both get some goal line carries, to be honest. But if Damian Harris just gets 5 or 6 touchdowns, that'll bring back plenty of fantasy value. Keith, what do you think? Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I think
I had a quick question for you. How do you feel about Cam Newton? Because I couldn't tell.
Yeah. Love him. Obviously, I love him. Tony, what do you think?
Keith. Wait, Keith was getting ready to go.
Oh, go, Keith.
No, I think you're spot on. I think Stevenson was really just playing against third and fourth string guys, so it made him look great. I think it's a Damian Harris show. I think especially if they go with mac and cheese there, it's going to be run first team, and those play actions are going to be opening up the field.
Tony?
Yeah, like I was talking about earlier, I still think that Belichick is a little bit arrogant, and rightfully so. He normally can back it up, so he keeps sticking with Cam and talking up his QB, but he's not a dummy. It's time, dude. The kid behind him is ready to go, and they need to put him in. They put him in, I think that they're going to be trouble. I think they're going to be a hell of a team.
Totally agree.
Did you say he's sticking with Cam or he's stinking with Cam? Couldn't quite hear.
Stinking.
Both.
Yeah. All right. Now, what team is left? The Jets, Jets. Keith, give it to me. What do you like about the Jets?
Oh man, what's there not to like about the Jets? I mean, come on, this is such a great team. No, really, this is going to be a quick one. It's really out with the old, in with the new. They kind of changed the whole mindset there with Robert Saleh, new head coach. I think he's really going to change things around. The problem is it's not going to be this year. I think there's too many question marks around this team. I do really like the new quarterback, Zach Wilson. He's got a cannon for an arm, and even Aaron Rodgers praised him. So he's got something there. I definitely think the guy from BYU definitely has got something there. The running backs, it's going to be a total running back by committee here. I'm really down on Michael Carter. I know some people are really high on him. I don't think that he's anything special. They drafted him in the 4th round. There's a reason why he lasted to the 4th round. And there's also a reason why they got Tevin Coleman. Tevin Coleman's going to be their goal line guy. He's going to punch it in. But I really like Ty Johnson. You heard it here first. Ty Johnson is going to lead the running back by committee. He's going to have the most fantasy value out of this team, I think.
Bold prediction.
Wide receivers, you've got Corey made of glass Davis. The guy just can't stay on the field. I love the guy. I think he's got the size. I think he's got the hands, but the guy can't stay on the field. Jameson Crowder, who we all fell in love with at Washington, is now in the Jets. Then we've got Keenan, the one-hit wonder, Cole from Jacksonville. He was great for 1 or 2 games, and then he disappeared. And I think this whole entire wide receiver crew is just made up of journeymen, guys that from other teams that failed, and I don't see them do anything here. I do really kind of like this Elijah Moore. There's something going on there. I just don't know if it may be a couple of years before he kind of breaks out. He's one of those guys that I can see breaking out in year 3. So I'm not drafting him this year unless it's like a dynasty or maybe a low end keeper. And then you've got Denzel Mims, not really high on. Tyler Croft is the tight end there, and Hendon. But Tyler Croft, yeah, they're just puke. Can't stand those guys. They've burned me too many times. I always thought Croft was something, and then this whole team's full of injuries, like Miami. It's crazy.
I hear you.
All right.
I do really like the defense. I think the defense is actually going to turn around with Robert Saleh. He's a defensive coordinator guy. He's really going to turn this defense around. But again, I don't think it's this year. I think he's got to put his system in place. It's going to be a couple of years before we find something out of the Jets. But if there's a guy that can actually turn this team around, I think it's going to be Robert Saleh.
All right. Excellent job, Keith. Good job. Tony, tell me what you think.
I agree with most of it. I'm going to add in a bold prediction. It's going to be the complete opposite of one person, but that depends on two things: health and the quarterback. So I'm jumping up to a bold prediction right here. You guys heard this. This is crazy, man. Mr. Glass, you were talking about 1,100 yards this year.
Nice.
1,100 yards. That's my bold prediction.
John, what do you think?
A car. Just is he driving 1,100 yards? Because I don't think he's catching. I thought Keith was actually pretty spot on. I really like Zach Wilson. I watched him play both of those preseason games, and the word that keeps coming to my mind is smooth. That kid doesn't look like a rookie, man. His movement smooth, his delivery smooth. The receivers are catching it. It's a nice pass right into their hands. You watch like Trey Lance, and his balls are like just these rockets, and people are kind of getting shocked when they catch him. When the Jets receivers catch him, and you're right, they're a bunch of journeymen, but I think he can make him look good. I think Elijah Moore is going to be a little faster. I'm higher on him this year, I think, than you are. I think we both think he's going to be great in third year, but I'm a little higher on him this year. But I think you're right. I think Jets, probably last place. And it's probably the right place for him. I love Saleh. Love that coach. And I think you're right. He's going to turn that team around, but not this year.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Nice. Good job, fellas. Appreciate it. All right.
Top 10 running back rankings.
Move on to our next segment, and this will be fun. We're going to unveil our top 10 running back rankings. As a consensus group, we each individually ranked 1 through 10 what running backs we like in that order, and then we took the consensus and came to the following conclusion. We'll go over each one, we'll tell you our thoughts and what we like about these players and what we don't. And let's start from top to bottom. We'll go number 1. Our number 1 running back, like the entire industry, is Christian McCaffrey. Do we really need to say much about Christian McCaffrey? I mean, Tony, why is Christian McCaffrey number 1?
Well, I mean, obviously between catches and touchdowns and runs and the whole thing, and he's the main guy on that team, so he's going to be getting the ball. You guys know how I feel about this. I love Dalvin Cook, and I'm super close in a couple leagues where I would almost take Dalvin Cook over him. I was 2 weeks ago saying I'm taking Dalvin Cook, but that's just stupid, man. It's stupid. McCaffrey, between injuries, like last year, is the only thing that's a little bit scary. But man, he's healthy right now. He looks good. That's one of those things I'm going to use the language right now. I'm too much of a pussy to take Dalvin Cook number 1. It would just be stupid. So yeah, McCaffrey's a sure number 1, and he's going to get the ball. That's it.
You know what worries me about McCaffrey is that I've heard zero news about McCaffrey. Like, he was injured all of last year, and yet I haven't heard any news of him really doing anything. So I hope all is good, and I hope that when I take him number 1 overall, that he produces as well as I think he's going to. But it's weird that I haven't heard anything.
That's what I like
stay
about
away from him. You should definitely stay away from him.
Yeah. I think the lack of news is actually a good thing. I mean,
I do too.
Yeah. There's obviously nothing wrong with them, and everything's fine and dandy. If everything runs smooth, you're not going to hear nothing. So that's good. That's really good. John,
you got me thinking now.
John, do you think that there's anything to add on Christian McCaffrey?
He's good.
He is good.
I got nothing else.
You know who else is good? Tony was just talking about him at number 2.
Dalvin C.
Like everyone else, we're Dalvin Cook as our number 2. If you think that McCaffrey's injury history is a little scary, then you definitely have to think that Dalvin Cook's injuries over the past have been a little bit scary too. He's had shoulder issues. He tore his ACL a couple years back. So Other than that, though, the guy's a beast. There's no question he's the number 2 running back. Does anyone disagree with that?
Nah. Schedule a little bit. He's got
It's a
some
three
rough.
day-
It's hard. Like I have Christian McCaffrey way up high, but I have close 2 and 3 that I could be persuaded
2, 3,
to my
and 4.
2 and 3 very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can say it. It's Ezekiel Elliott. He's our number 3. I agree with you. Dalvin Cook is barely ahead of Ezekiel Elliott in my book. Tony, what do you think?
I agree now. 2, 3, and 4 is crazy for me. I mean, when you add Kamara in there, the only reason, well, again, Kamara is going to be their main weapon. So I have him pretty close too. I have all 3 of them very close, but I'm still going to leave Cook at number 2.
So the Dallas offense is so explosive, and when they have Dak at quarterback, and when they did last year, Ezekiel Elliott was the 3rd best running back in fantasy football.
Yeah.
He only started to struggle after Dak got injured.
What did I tell you Zeke was going to end up as this year?
Number 1 running back. That's one of Johnny's
Yeah,
bold
I
predictions.
don't doubt it. I think it's depending on the format. I'm either taking Cook or Ezekiel Elliott, depending on the format. If it's a PPR, I'm taking Cook. Half-point PPR or standard, I'm going Ezekiel Elliott.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
It's a good point. I'm drafting 3rd in our league, and I'm hoping to God whoever takes number 2 is taking Cook because I want Zeke so bad.
We already look. I'm known for mock drafting a million times. Every single time I've mocked, John, you got Ezekiel Elliott. I know you're going to take him, so
Yeah,
might as well pencil it in. All right.
I will say this. I feel better about Kamara if Jameis gets quarterback than I do if Taysom gets quarterback.
I was just going to bring that up because if Jameis wins that job as he should, Kamara's our number 4. But does he stay number 4 if Jameis wins that job? Do you still think he's number 4?
You mean would I move him up if Jameis wins?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
And I'm not moving him above Z.
So he stays at 4.
Say
Keith,
the 4 for me.
you agree with that?
I'm lower on Kamara than most. I actually have somebody else in that spot. So I'm not. I think there's something to the backup. I forget his name. The backup guy is getting a lot of. Sorry,
is it Murray?
No, it's the kid.
Not Murray.
Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah.
Tony Jones Jr.
Yeah, Jones.
Kid.
I think there's something to this. I don't know what it is. I think he's going to steal some carries. And I'm not.
He can catch the ball too.
Just a weird feeling, like Johnny Ballgame gets these weird feelings. I got this weird feeling about Kamara this year. I'm just not high on him.
That makes sense.
Dude, I'm kind of with you. When I had him, so I've got this real weird thing about if I have a player and they go off, and I draft them the next year, they never go off. So I just don't do it anymore. I won't draft any player that I had go off for me the year before. So Kamara was freaking awesome last year, but when Breeze was out of the lineup, Taysom Hill was the quarterback, he only had 1 game where he did anything. Now that 1 game won me the head-to-head.
True.
I'm not going to lie, but
The 6 TD game.
yes. God,
That was incredible.
it was the single greatest football game I ever watched.
Was that Christmas? Was that the Christmas?
Yes, it was Christmas.
Dude,
No,
I hated that
Thanksgiving.
game. I couldn't
Thanksgiving.
stand that game.
Thanksgiving?
It was Thanksgiving.
Nice. You were thanking him, I bet.
Oh, it was one of those holidays. All I remember is like, oh my God, there's another one. I'm having a pretty good day. Oh my God, there's another one. This day's getting better. Oh my God. Like it just kept going and going.
Nuts.
It was insane.
Okay, number 5 on our list. Pretty chalky, I think. Derrick Henry from Tennessee, and that's your team, John. What do you think? You think Derrick Henry can do anything similar to what he did last year?
I'm going to make this bold prediction. He'll be the best running back to follow a 2,000-yard season ever in the history of the game. Now, having said that, the best running back was, I've said this before, Barry Sanders, 1,400 yards following a 2,000-yard season. I still think Henry gets 1,600 to 1,800 yards. I think he might still lead the league. He might break the record and be the first running back to ever lead the league 3 years in a row. If there's ever a running back that could do it, it's going to be Henry. He's not of this world.
He's a transformer. I mean, he's like made of steel. He's ridiculous. Guy's a beast. Anyway,
I think things have changed. I think that them bringing Julio is a changing of things. I think they air it out more with Julio and AJ Brown.
Don't you think that helps?
I think he gets better yards per carry, but he was already getting great yards per carry.
Well, that's why I don't think he gets 2,000, because I agree with you. But I think he'll have less carries, and I think he'll have better yards per carry. I think you're absolutely right.
I think he's going to lose some touchdowns too. I think he's going to see a regression in touchdowns and a regression in yards, and that puts him outside the top 5 for me. I think I have him at 8, so it's much different for me.
Yeah, you had him at 8.
Yeah,
1,500 yards and less touchdowns still is a hell of a season.
It still is. It still is. Yeah,
but because he doesn't catch passes in a PPR format, it does make him borderline top 5. So
yeah,
he needs 1,800 yards to be like a top 2 or 3 running back. So
I would easily swap him and our number 6, which I think is probably everybody's number 6. Is it
Aaron Jones, number 6, and
I could swap those guys.
There's a lot to like with Aaron Jones. Obviously, he's pretty explosive. He does score a lot of touchdowns. He catches a lot of passes. But there's something about this A.J. Dillon experiment that bothers me and worries me. I still have Aaron Jones, I believe, 6, but it's a shaky 6 for me. I've gone back and forth with this. I'm a little worried that Dillon's going to vulture a lot of those touchdowns. What do you guys think?
Meh.
Maybe a little, not major.
Have you seen that guy's thighs?
Yeah, he's very, very attractive. Thank you.
He works out.
He must work out.
He does a lot of walking.
Yeah. I don't know, man. What do you guys think, though? You think Aaron Jones is just flat out just going to dominate like he did last year?
Yeah,
I think it's the last dance. Like Roger said. I think he's going to feed everybody as much as possible. I think we're going to see some highs from that team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for it, man. I think AJ Dillon is going to take over for that Jamal Williams role. I don't see much more out of him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if Dillon goes down, if Jones goes down, then AJ.
That's a nice pickup. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I think he's Jamal Williams.
Okay. All right. And that brings us to our number 7, and that was Keith's number 4. This was the guy you were talking about earlier, Nick Chubb, number 7. I think that's pretty chalky overall in the industry, though. But you're different than us on this one, Keith. Tell me why you like Nick Chubb so much.
I have him at 4. It's hard to believe, but yeah, I have him really high. I just think that the fact that I can say I got Chubb is just so awesome, and I love that fact that I can just roll with Chubb all day long. It's just something about the name and the team. I'm really high on the Browns, and it's like every year people say the Browns are going to be good, and then they're not. I think this is a year. I really do, and I've probably been saying that for 3 years now. But something about this team, I think, is just going to click this year, and I think Chubb,
it started to last year, right?
Yeah, it started to last year, and then you had OBJ get hurt. I just think that OBJ is a little bit more of a seasoned vet now. I think he's going to take care of himself a little bit more. I love where OBJ is being taken as well, but that's another story.
So you're the one.
Yeah, I'm the one that keeps upping his ADP for sure.
Tony, why don't you like Nick Chubb?
Well, this is again going into another segment. I have a prediction on this guy. Now, I definitely like him. I think he's incredible. Nothing like a brown Chubb. It's ridiculous. We're all adults here.
Are we?
I think it's going to be similar to sort of like last year. He is going to destroy it the first 10 or 11 weeks, and it's going to go. And I think he's going to die off, whether it be nagging injuries or just worn out, or it's going to start getting a little cold. And they're going to feed the ball to Kareem and throw the ball more. That's just my gut. Do I like him? Yeah, he's badass. But I definitely buy him around a 7 or 8 pick.
Look, if Kareem Hunt wasn't in the mix, Nick Chubb would be a top 2 or 3 running back for me. I love his skill set. He's amazing. Like, I mean, he does more with less than anyone else in the league. He doesn't get the carries that some of these guys get, like Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, but he performs and gets the yards almost as much as those guys, if not more. I mean, I think Nick Chubb was the second leading rusher in the NFL last year behind Henry, and probably had maybe 2/3 of his carries. It's amazing what he does. But Kareem Hunt is still there, and that's a problem. Kareem Hunt is vulturing touchdowns and carries from him. John, do you have anything else to add about that?
I am 100% with you. I was going to say this exact same thing. If Kareem Hunt wasn't there, top three running back.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm looking to see where he actually ended up last year, though. He ended up the 10th running back. Yeah,
and points, he's still top 10, but he's never going to be the elite until they get rid of Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
But by the way,
he also missed 4 games last year.
He missed 4 games. That's right. I forgot to mention
4.5 games because he only had 6. He got injured in the Cowboys game. He missed the Colts, Steelers, Bengals, and Raiders, and we know he could have ran all over the Bengals and the Raiders.
And look, Kareem Hunt had his opportunity during those 4 weeks to be the solo running back, and he was just okay. It wasn't great. Yeah. So that Nick Chubb is just a fantastic running back is what I'm trying to say.
190 carries for 1,067 yards and 12 touchdowns.
Incredible.
16 catches for $150 or 150 yards. So.
Yep. All right, number 8, and this one is different from the industry because we, the 3 of us, minus you, Keith, we're very high on Najee Harris, and that's why he's our number 8 running back out of Pittsburgh. Keith, you had him 10th, which isn't bad, but what do you think? How come you're not quite as high on Najee as we are?
It's not that I'm not high on him. I really do like him a lot. I just think it's kind of like the CEH thing from last year. We got to give these rookies this power over us and allow them to ruin our draft boards. It happens every year where we pick these rookies way too high, and just like CEH last year, he just didn't bring that comeback to where he was drafted.
It's true.
And I'm kind of weary of the whole Pittsburgh thing. I've seen Ben just ball out the other day. Makes you kind of rethink things, because if he's still balling out, then there's going to be a lot of room to run. But if his arm fails at all, he's going to see 10-man boxes. It's just going to be harsh to run.
I agree, and that's why I do like him, because I think Ben Roethlisberger, he's 2 years removed from that Tommy John surgery now, and that's usually when it kicks into like full strength. I think he's going to be fine. Tony, John, got anything to add?
Well, we drafted him, right, John?
Oh, yeah.
We love this kid. And you guys know, you've seen me in the past. I'm one of those guys that takes chances on rookies in the first couple rounds.
Dalvin Cook.
That year it took Dalvin Cook and Kareem Hunt, right?
Yes.
Wasn't that the year?
That
and
was
they
the
both
year.
Went off, and they both got injured.
Yep.
So you got to worry about the rookies getting beat up, because it's a different ball game when you go. College has some big boys, but college NFL, there's still a big difference. So that's one lesson I don't learn, but I've had very good luck with drafting rookies within my first few picks.
You have. John?
Yeah, and I first of all, Keith, what you don't know is Chuck has an unhealthy love affair with Ben Roethlisberger. So you just need to know that. Yeah, I ranked Najee at 10th too, so it's not like I went crazy on him, but I have been on record on the show as saying I get a vibe from him that is Edgerrin James rookie year. That's the kind of vibe I get from Najee this year. I think they're going to use him. I think they're going to use him often. I think he's going to have a Le'Veon Bell type use in this, and we saw what Le'Veon Bell did when Le'Veon Bell was Le'Veon Bell. So,
look, I was high on Najee, but when I heard what Johnny said about Edgerrin James, and Johnny sometimes gets these gut feelings.
That was a gut feeling for sure.
And when he said this stuff, I went, "Ooh, Johnny likes Najee. That means Daddy likes Najee." So yeah, and we got him in the second round, coming back at 6. That's pretty good value. I don't like him necessarily as your wide receiver 1, but I love him as the wide receiver 2. So
Think he
all right.
plays running back though instead?
Running back.
Do we put him at running back instead of?
Oh, did I say wide receiver?
Yeah.
Yeah, put him everywhere. Tight end.
I mean, he's talented.
He's so high
no,
on it. He can play every position.
It's the Steeler thing.
He's
He's
like-
got sex in the brain, wide receiver.
I was thinking about Big Ben. You know,
Yeah,
He's like-
exactly.
dinner
He's like
plans with
that
him
Bugs
next
Bunny
week.
cartoon where he pitches it to himself and then hits it and then goes out and catches it. That's what Najee's
I
like.
got a full-on Chubb thinking about Big Ben.
Hey.
Hey. All right. Okay. A lot of these guys in industry like to call this next man Awesome Eckler. He's our number 9, Austin Eckler, or even Awesome Excellence. I'm down on Austin Eckler. I think he's completely overrated, but I know that Keith is high on him. Tell me why.
I think I got him at 6. I really like the possibilities of him. Now, don't get me wrong. There's definitely some question marks on whether he can carry the load. But yeah, I think if you know anything about the check down that Herbert did last year and what he is capable of doing, Eckler is going to just feed all day. And he's going to push 100 catches, and he's going to see huge touchdowns. I just have big things for this guy. He's just going to be all over the place.
John, tell him why we don't like Austin Eckler.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. Eckler's moving up my list a little bit. I do think he's going to get a ton of catches. I do. He gets injured, though. He's not that like prototypical number 1 running back. I think Roundtree is going to start stealing some carries from him. Roundtree looks good, man. He's that guy for me that I don't know. I want to like him. I liked him last year, and then I think he let everybody down. I'm just kind of meh on him. I mean, I have him at number 9, so it's not like I think he's going to be terrible. I don't have him at 6 where you had him.
Yeah, he's never had 600 yards rushing in a season.
Truth.
Yeah.
I don't think he needs it. I think he's going to get over 1,000 yards receiving.
That's bold.
Also truth.
You might be right about that.
Actually, I don't think that's that bold. I think he's absolutely right. I think he's going to have above 1,000 yards.
1,000 yards in receiving is Christian McCaffrey territory. That's bold. Yeah. All right.
I mean, he's kind of Reggie Bush-ish, right? That's what Reggie Bush did.
Yeah.
About 1,000 yards receiving.
But they have so many. They have weapons there, and
Let them
Herbert
run.
likes to throw it down the field. Don't get it twisted. He'll
What did I
check
tell
it
you
down
about-
if he needs to, but he'll throw it down to Mike Williams and he'll hit Keenan Allen, 10 times. Yeah, I like his weapons. I like Jared Cook at tight end. There's a lot of mouths to feed. I don't know if Eckler can get 1,000 yards receiving, but he definitely could catch 80, 90 balls and maybe 800, 900 yards. Yeah. But does that make him a top 10 running back if he's only getting 500 yards rushing and he has to stay healthy? That's why I'm out on Eckler. At his draft position, I'm out.
Well, you're still talking 1,500 yards total between, catches and runs. That's still.
But where are the
Pretty good.
touchdowns?
But yeah, I don't know. I'm wishy-washy on him. I don't have him in my top 10, but I'm not opposed to sticking him in there somewhere either.
I hope someone else drafts him so I don't have to have that conversation with myself.
I would like to get him if I was drafting early, like the 2 or 3 slot on the way back in round 2. Then he would show value to me. But having to take him at the end of the first, early second, nah.
I agree with that.
All right. And our
All right,
10th
just
and
leave
final.
him for me around the turn. I'll take him around the turn. You guys
Oh, he won't make it to you. He won't make it to you if he gets
He
that
won't make
far.
it to
I'll
you,
tell you that.
Okay, here's our number 10 running back. I personally think we dissed him a little bit. Number 10 is Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. I had him probably higher than all you guys, and I'm checking
I
right
didn't
now.
have him in my top 10. so
You did not. And I had him at 6. And Tony, you had him
Nowhere.
not in your top 10 either.
Not anymore.
So I want to know, I'm going to start with you, Tony. Why is he not in your top 10? And why is it before you had him there and now you don't?
Well, it's just the committee thing again. It's another one of those teams where I think they're going to spread it around a little bit. And that's it. I don't think he's going to get the ball enough to do, what everybody thinks he's going to do. This sounds ridiculous. I sound like a dumbass, but I don't see it. And it's not even really my gut. They're going to be giving it to what? Mac, Hines are going to back the same thing. Got a little bit of a kind of a weird quarterback issue there. But then you got the coach back with Wentz. They're going to fucking throw it. Yeah, I don't buy him in the top 10 anymore.
John?
I think it could be summed up in the 90s pop song, Return of the Mac. I agree. I think it's going to be a complete committee. And you know what? I didn't think he was that good last year. I think toward the end of the year, he started taking off. They were opening better holes for him, but I don't think he moves that well. Like, I don't know. There's something about watching him run. He doesn't make people miss that much. If he doesn't get a big, giant, clear lane, he doesn't make people miss. And if you get him in the open field, he's not shaking and baking anybody. He's just running straight ahead. I don't believe in him. He's not my top 10.
Wow. After what I saw him do down the stretch last year, he impressed the hell out of me. And I think they figured it out. I think as the season wore down, they realized what they have in Jonathan Taylor. And I think that continues. I don't think Mac's going to play into this much. He'll get a few carries. And I'm sure they'll throw in, the pass catching back to come in there a couple times. And maybe even Wilkins will get a touch or two. But honestly, Jonathan Taylor is going to get his 1,300 yards rushing. He's going to catch some balls. Keith, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the offensive line is just so good that it doesn't matter who the running back is. I'm kind of with you, Johnny. The whole Mac thing kind of does scare me because I think that he could eat some targets and eat into some carries here. But I just think that offensive line is so good, and I think the whole scare of the injury to I think it was their guard or tackle was kind of overblown. I think he's going to be back by the first game or something like that. I just think they're gonna keep it rolling. But if something does happen to Taylor, watch out for Mac. Mac is one of those guys that you can get at the end of your draft that could just be one of those guys that win you the league.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if something happens to him, sure.
And Hines catches the ball a lot out of the backfield. That's the other piece that bothers me.
Hines, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anyone that didn't make our top 10 that we should maybe think
Mixon.
about? Joe Mixon. Yeah. I had Mixon last year, and he, even before he got hurt, he was quite a disappointment. He had one big game, but that was about it. And I know, Tony, you feel the same way because you're a Bengal lover, and they just disappoint every year. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I got nothing to say. Maybe it's personal, but I still, it's been a heartbreaker. So yeah, he's awesome. Everybody's talking him up. He's, number 7, number 8, he's gonna end up being a clear cut, top 5 dude at the end of the year. I'm not as down on him as I was a few weeks ago, but I still don't put him in my top 10. I don't trust him. It's not even about the system or the O-line. I don't trust him. There's something about his attitude I've never liked. So,
John,
that's just my feeling.
Where do you put Mixon?
I love him this year. He's my number 7.
That's right.
Here's what I like. I like that Giovanni's gone. So he doesn't have this really weird relationship where it's like, am I going to stay in? Am I going to get pulled? I think Mixon becomes a full 3-down back. I think he's going to lead, and I've already said this on the show, he's going to lead the AFC in points this year.
If he can stay healthy, that's the problem with that guy. That guy can't stay healthy.
That's true. But hopefully.
He can't. I mean, if you tell me that he was going to play 17 games this season, I'm on board. He's in my top 5. But the guy can't stay healthy, and that's the problem for me.
But you took Austin Eckler ahead of him.
Yeah, because I don't think Joe Mixon is going to stay healthy.
Austin Eckler stays healthy?
I think Austin Eckler is going to stay more healthy than
because he never has.
The PPR perception of Austin Eckler is way higher than I have on Joe Mixon.
I agree with that, but they're both injury risks, so we'll see.
I mean, honestly, who isn't these days?
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say everybody's an injury risk, man.
I mean, look at our list of top 10.
The only one that's not is Derrick Henry.
games. Yeah, Derrick Henry didn't miss any games. I think Aaron Jones missed a couple.
Alvin Kamara. That's it.
Chubb missed 4. Kamara missed 1, I think. I think Kamara missed a game.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
So, I mean, honestly, at this point, let's just get the one who's going to last the most out of the 17 games.
Injuries suck. I wish we could play like Madden and just turn off injuries.
Nice.
All right.
That seems possible.
Bold predictions.
Now it's time for our favorite segment, right, Johnny Ballgame? It is bold predictions. This is where we say something ballsy, outlandish, and we try to, see if it'll come true and look like a freaking genius. And if we miss it, who cares? We'll just edit it out later and keep the good stuff. But I want you guys to give me 2 each bold predictions that could happen, and we'll see what shakes. We're going to start with the fantasy antagonist. Keith, give me your first bold prediction.
Zach Wilson will be this year's Justin Herbert.
Dude, that's one of mine.
No way, really.
Not Justin Herbert, but I have him in my top 10 fantasy quarterbacks.
I think he will be this year's Justin Herbert. He'll be in our top 10.
Wow.
And we'll be talking about drafting him just like we do with Justin Herbert next year.
Wow, that's ballsy. What do you guys think? Is it possible?
163% agree. It literally was Zach Wilson will be a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year.
Wow, I stole your thunder, Johnny.
Yeah. As soon as he started, I was like, what? What just happened?
I'll give you a second to regroup, and I'll go to Tony for this next one. Tony, who's your first bold prediction?
We're going to go right along those lines. I got Corey Davis catching over 1,000 yards.
Wow.
I seriously believe that, man. I don't know what it is. I know it's ballsy, and I've had a couple things that have been ridiculous, but it's a gut and it's a bold prediction. I think the guy is going to stay healthy and he's going to tee off.
Well,
that's just me.
I mean, if Zach Wilson is going to be top 10 quarterback, he's got.
That's what I'm saying.
Somebody, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying. How is he going to do it?
That's right.
He's got to have somebody healthy there. Were they
All
going to
right,
bring in
Healthy is the
Deshaun
question.
Jackson?
Corey Davis never makes it healthy.
I know.
Okay, I got one for you guys. And I don't know. I feel like I might be stealing this one from Keith because we talked about this previously. Carson Wentz will finish as a top 15 quarterback, and Michael Pittman will finish as a wide receiver 2 in fantasy scoring.
2?
A wide receiver 2, so that's top 24.
Yeah.
Pittman, top 24, and top 15 for Carson Wentz. Is that not ballsy enough for you guys?
No, I actually like Wentz. I think we've talked about this before. Wentz, I'm pretty high on Wentz. I know he got the injury, and everybody just went off the bandwagon from him. I think that the whole change of teams really helps him, and I think he's got weapons there, not to mention the run game that's going to save his ass.
Hey, look, the way I see it is if old man Phillip Rivers, who slings the ball like this, if he can throw for over 4,000 yards in that offense, Carson Wentz can do that. And Carson Wentz can run the ball, and he'll get a touchdown or 2 on the ground. I think he can easily be top 15. John, tell me, what do you think?
So Carson Wentz rarely finishes a season.
True.
This year, he went, well, let's just start the season. I think you could have stopped when you said, I'm high on Wentz. I've just stopped at, I'm high. Because I don't think Wentz makes it in the top 15. I don't believe in him. I think there's too many other talented quarterbacks. I think he is damaged goods from his time in Philadelphia. I think they really screwed with his head. His confidence is bad, and he gets injured constantly. I mean, we're talking about all these other running backs that get injured. That dude is like a China doll playing quarterback. So
let me put it this way. If he does finish top 15, I'm going to look like a freaking genius.
Ballsy.
Ballsy.
I mean, that's the beauty of a bold prediction, right?
That's why we're doing it. Because if you fail, everybody's going to see you as a dumbass. So if you fail, it's, you fail.
All right. Well, John, you got a bold prediction for us? Make it a good one.
Two. I've got one negative, or I've got one positive. Okay, I'm going to go one that is more bold than any bold prediction we've ever made on this show.
Wow.
Juwan Johnson of the New Orleans Saints will finish as a top 10 fantasy tight end by the end of the season.
Wow.
Who?
Keith says who? I know who he is because we talked about this last night, but before that, I didn't know who he was, to be honest. That is ballsy.
You said go bold.
Go bold or go home.
Tillman's hurt. They've got no other backup tight ends. This dude has been a monster in camp. If you watch that New Orleans game, he was all over the field. He's a wide receiver turned tight end, which means he's got the skills to go deep, down the stretch, down the middle. I'm telling you, I'm so high on this guy that when I saw him playing, I was like, Troutman, who? Like, this guy is going to take over. And then Troutman got hurt. And I was like, this is my guy. Top 10 tight end by the end of the season.
And thanks to Johnny Ballgame, you guys can get him in the last round or pick him up on the waiver wire.
110%.
Wow. Okay, let's go on to our second picks for our bold predictions. We'll start with you, Tony. What bold prediction do you have for us now?
All right, I'm going to homer here. I'm going with my 3 wide receivers in Cincinnati. Boyd, Jamar, Higgins. I think those 3 guys by week 5 are going to take off. They're going to be the top trio. Now, it's nothing that's going to be huge. I mean, how many three guys can you see that are going to lead the league? But I think those 3 guys together are going to be the top trio wide receivers starting week 5 to the end of the season.
So from week 5 to week 18.
1Ks?
I'm being nice, giving them a few weeks to warm up. But by 5 to 17,
18.
that trio will lead in yardage.
Yeah, we got the extra week, so it's weeks 5 through 18. You think those
18.
3 will be the top scoring trio in fantasy for a wide receiver position? I like that one. I could see that happening too. Of course, that would mean that my Pittsburgh Steelers trio wouldn't do that. So, that means Big Ben. But I'm okay with that. That's a good prediction.
I'm talking yardage. I'm not talking touchdowns necessarily.
You're talking points, fantasy points.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keith, what do you think?
I think the Cowboys trio is going to do better than that, and so I think the Pittsburgh trio was probably better than that as well. So that's a bold prediction right there.
All right. Keep it rolling, Keith. What do you got for a bold prediction?
I mentioned it earlier. I think Ty Johnson is going to lead the Jets to the promised land. They're going to go 3-14. They're going to go 3-14. But Ty Johnson is going to be a running back we're going to remember, and next year he'll be an RB2.
So Michael Carter is just nothing, huh?
Yeah, I have no faith in Michael Carter. Things I've been hearing out of their camp is Ty Johnson's better than Michael Carter on a practice by practice basis, and I see Michael Carter as a third running back on that team.
I do too. It's a great call.
All right, I got another one, and this one it better be bold because this man has an ADP of nothing because he's not being currently drafted in any formats, especially 15 to 16 round formats. Quez Watkins of the Philadelphia Eagles will finish as the wide receiver 1 on the Eagles team and will return wide receiver 3 fantasy value. It's got to be ballsy.
I think that's beyond ballsy. I don't even see him as a third wide receiver on this team.
Have you been watching the preseason?
He looks good.
He looks good.
Say he does look good.
Look, I pulled this one so deep out of my ass that I think I made Sir Poops a lot cringe.
or smile a lot.
Or smile a lot. One of the two. I really like him. He reminds me a lot of Tyreek Hill. And I think he was on the team last year, but he was injured, and he's kind of coming out of nowhere, and nobody knows about him, and you can just pick him up.
Oh, fast! God, he's fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
And one of the first preseason game, Jalen Hurts missed him just barely, which would have been like a 95-yard touchdown. I could see him getting a couple of those this year.
Yeah, and then he came back and hit him on like a 60-yard touchdown, though, right?
That's right. He could have had 2
huge
touchdowns
he hit him on a
in one
big
game.
touchdown.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
We got
My
one.
last-
We got one bold prediction left. Johnny Ballgame.
This one's a little negative. I feel bad about saying it. Saquon Barkley will not be a top 20 fantasy running back this year.
Woo! Top 20.
20.
Man,
Top 20.
that's cold.
Not top 20.
You cold-blooded, Johnny.
I got nothing. I got nothing for that guy.
If he was healthier, you don't think so?
No, if he was healthier, yeah. I will tell you this. The Giants, I like them a little bit better than I did last year. They didn't do much to that line to improve it. They brought in a couple of veterans, but it's not a great line. And I was on record last year as saying I thought he was going to get injured because I thought their line was so bad.
You called that one.
I called that one week 1. So I think he'll be okay. I don't think he finishes in the top 20. I just don't. I think he's meh.
So if he comes back to you in the second round and you're drafting at the 3 slot, you're passing?
I'm passing.
Wow.
I don't want him on my team. I don't even have to that's not even a conversation in my head.
Wow.
That's tough.
So he's undraftable for you.
Yep.
At his ADP, he's undraftable. Yeah, it's weird because I was really high on him because of Galladay. I thought that Galladay would take off some pressure, but Galladay has been, ever since he got his paycheck, he's a different guy. I don't know what's going on, but he got paid and suddenly he's just not showing up to practices. Every little injury is nagging him. So that changes things for me a lot. And they really didn't do anything to improve this offensive line. I think this offensive line is garbage.
Yep. This team doesn't look much better than last year's team.
No.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
Their backup guy is getting a lot of carries, and I think he's going to dig into Barkley's carries because they want to
protect him a little bit.
Yeah, they want to protect him more, and especially at the start of the season, anybody that drafts him is going to be disappointed for the first 6 weeks, I think, and you're going to have to really hope that he ramps up at the end of the year.
Yeah, you want him to do a 2019 end of the season type run if you have Barkley. But yeah, I'm on board with that. That's definitely a possibility. I've heard rumors that knee, I mean, he had major knee surgery. It wasn't just a torn ACL. He tore a lot of stuff. So it's not
all
like
L's.
Yeah,
he tore all 3 L's. Yeah.
All 3 L's. And it's not like the Adrian Peterson situation where he just tore his ACL and came back and got 2,000 yards. I don't think that's in the cards for Barkley. I think he is going to struggle. The offensive line is shit. Let's be real. And and they don't have a great quarterback. And like Keith said, the wide receivers, we had high hopes for Galladay, and I don't know, he's MIA, so it could be a disaster.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, great show tonight.
Yeah.
For those of you that enjoyed the show, please do us a favor, hit that like button and make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so that every week when we put these out, you'll get notified and you'll get to watch the show right away. We appreciate you watching the show. Thank you very much to Keith, the Fantasy Antagonist, for joining us tonight. And Sir Poops a Lot, Tony, thank you again. And
Thank
Johnny
you.
Ballgame, bringing the bold predictions. And we're going to see you again next week, so make sure you tune in. Everyone have a great evening. Aloha.
Thanks, Jack. All right,
Thanks,
bye.
everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Later, guys.
Thanks for watching. Tune in next week for another episode of Fantasy Sports Island.